gap.
You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody? It's the chairman here of the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And tonight, we're stepping into a universe shaped by legacy, rebellion, and the next wave of heroes who refuse to stay in anyone's shadow. Pulled directly from the pages of The Remnant, Last Gen isn't just a new superhero team, it's a declaration. These young heroes are done being treated like sidekicks, done being underestimated, and ready to prove that they are the future. Joining us tonight is Matt Jasso with a J and raymackay. They're here to talk Last Gen 0, Last Gen number 1, and what it means to tell a coming-of-age superhero story in a world that already thinks it knows how heroes should look. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Matt back to the show for like the third time in his illegitimate love child, Ray.
I need the smoker's jacket, like SNL, like a 5-timer. I need a 3-timer jacket.
Dude, now I got ideas. I'm going to have to order myself one of those.
What's up, Ray?
Ray, welcome to the show for the first time, man.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
And that was my one. I swear I won't hit no more young jokes. I think I got most of them out before we went live. So now we can lock in and focus. We got an audience here of y'all's team. So Ray, I appreciate you sharing this around to all the buddies over at Grok Comics. And we got some Alpha Red Comic in here, some CYI Worldwide. So with that, for readers just discovering this corner of the Remnant Universe, what is Last Gen and what makes this team different from the heroes that came before them?
I think I was distracted because where did you get that intro you just read?
Because that was really good.
Oh, dude, I every person who comes on the podcast, Matt, you should know this. Every single one gets their own unique intro based on their comic that they are presenting, or whether they're artists or what have you. They all get their own unique intro. And what I do is I take all the data that I can gather about Grok Comics, about the comic book, and I take all that, I put it into a little chat GPT action, and I've trained my chat GPT over the last 2 years. And and then once it's done spitting it out, I go back and I rewrite everything in the way I would like it to be. And that's where it comes from.
Okay. Yeah, because I had that moment. I was like, I've done a lot of ghost writing for some of the PR stuff for Grok. And I was like, that was pretty good, but I don't think I wrote that.
I mean, if you want me to write for Grok, all you got to do is ask. I send you my bill and we're good.
It is not up to me. It's up to Ray. This is his title. I just hang out here.
Oh no, I mean, Last Gen wouldn't be what it is without Matt. Like, he's been so helpful for.
So I'm going to be honest. For it. Matt sent me some covers and stuff for this book months ago when I had him on last, and I was like, I wish you wouldn't have shared this to me because I know this isn't ready yet. So all you've done is tease me for the next 6 months or 3 months, however long it's been. But I did hop in on the Kickstarter to make sure I did get my copy of this.
Nice.
So, but do you remember the question, or you want me to say it again? Because
Throw it out there. I lost.
Matt did what Matt does. So for readers just discovering this corner of the Remnant Universe, what is Last Gen, and what makes this team different from the heroes that came before them?
Do you want to take
you
this
go?
one,
You are the writer
Ray,
of the book.
this is your show. Matt's just supporting cast to throw zingers out.
You are Captain Lone Star. I am Barf. Go.
I'll take it. So Last Gen, it's an upcoming comic from Grok Comics that's going to focus on the younger cast of the Grok universe, sort of the teen and college age heroes who have all appeared previously in books like The Remnant or the Atomic Thunderbolt one-shot or Parables of the Remnant, but now they're being spun off into their own series that's dedicated to sort of the younger heroes. This team of heroes is led by the brash but heroic Atoman, and the roster includes soon-to-be iconic heroes like Gemstar, Trash Polka, Anarchy Prime, Jellybean, Calvary, the Atomic Thunderbolt, and Hang Ten. All of them have diverse and interesting personalities and power sets, and really, this book is going to be Grok's young adult teen hero book with all these young heroes striking out on their own as they navigate growing into responsibilities, friendships, and romance. They also have to balance their new duties to keep people safe from criminals and supervillains. And in the first issue, which is now on Kickstarter, it has 2 stories that I helped write, which include humor and interpersonal drama and some good old-fashioned superpowered action. Issue 0 is going to collect a lot of the previous appearances of Last Gen, as well as an 8-page original story I wrote that sort of brings the team together for the first time. And this is just going to be a comic that's for fans of superhero comics. Like if you like Teen Titans, the New Mutants, the New Warriors, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Invincible, this is the one for you. And really what sets Last Gen apart from the other Grok comics is they're the younger cast, and they're the younger cast. It's going to be written by me with some stories by Matt, hopefully, and some stories from Bill. And just, we're really excited to get these characters out into the world because I think they're really interesting and I think they'll resonate with people.
I like it, but who named their character Jellybean?
That was not me.
So Bill ultimately has created probably 97% of the characters in Grok Comics. And what I really liked about this is that so he has a flagship title called The Remnants.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the members of Last Gen have kind of been introduced through there and met and have been there. And they literally in the 3rd or 4th issue go, we don't want to be here anymore. Like, you guys are doing your thing. We want to do our thing. We don't want to listen to you guys. And they leave and create their own headquarters in a separate part of the city. So I think it kind of opens it up to, unlike like the New Mutants, they were just out of Xavier's same house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They just were on a different level. This is a completely different
very
place.
similar to what the Teen Titans did. They just kind of got tired of being the second fiddles in these sidekicks and got their own place.
Yeah, so it's
with Batman's money.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's some of them are, like I said, mainstays that have been in the main title. Some of them get introduced through this, and I'm just excited to see a lot of what Ray has done. He really did kind of bring these characters to life. Again, as much as I enjoy writing, I am in my 50s. Me writing teenagers, not so much a thing that I should do. So when we had Ray, it was like, it's a no-brainer. The young character, give it to the young writer. So it's been a lot of fun.
What you just said was you are now Unk status. And it's time to pass the ball.
Yeah. I'm Grunkle Matt.
Dude,
we need to get you one of those hats that he has.
Look at the little hat.
With the smoker's jacket? That's perfect, dude.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We just doing
yeah,
a rewatch of that. Sorry.
No, you were
you're
telling me
gonna
about
rewatch
that.
something. That's what you rewatch.
Yeah, the one. So my buddy Max was visiting for the weekend, and he just basically got me to start watching Merlin with him, and I'm hooked into that now.
Nice.
Yeah,
Did you
good
watch
show.
The Magicians or The Librarians? I think it's The Librarians. That one was really good. Similar, very similar. But so why was this the right time to tell a story about younger heroes stepping out of the shadow of their legacy teams?
Wow, that's a really good question. Honestly, I'd have to say
That's
just
what I do here. I may have done this
Like-
1 or 20 times.
I think what happens is, like any comic book creator, when you come up with a title, you have like, well, this is a cool title, but it would be also good if we had these other 15. And
Mhm.
Bill has done that a lot. Is there's a lot of offshoots that are planned down the line,
Mhm.
some that are already happening. So a lot of that was already in motion before Ray and I even got kind of brought into the Grok thing.
Mhm.
This was already happening. Like the third issue of Remnant was already out there in the public before I ever even heard of it. So
Same.
So some of this decision process, that's all that to say, we do what we're told. We are freelance writers.
Yeah, as much as I'd love to claim I have this grand vision for sort of how Last Gen is going to come to fruition, I really am just sort of we're writers for hire. We're freelance. What I find really interesting about Last Gen #1 is the first comic I ever wrote for Grok is going to be published, and it's a backup story featuring one of the Last Gen members, Calvary. And it's really interesting because I literally just finished doing a dialogue polish on it yesterday, because I wrote the script in January of 2023. And now if it's sort of on Kickstarter going to be published in January of 2025, I've gotten a bit better as a writer, and there's a few details that have changed
26.
continuity-wise. Sorry?
Yeah.
2026.
2026.
Oh, sorry. Even longer.
At least you have a time machine up there.
Yes, I've gone back in time.
There's some decisions that I need to go back and undo.
I'm going to win a lot of money on the Super Bowl this year.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't even think you could have predicted that one.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Ray knows some of this. I think I've lightly discussed it on the previous guest spot. Is like, so several years ago, he called me the story editor over at Grok Comics, but essentially I was like looking over new talent submissions, critiquing them, what was right, what was wrong. And that's where Ray was one of these guys. And Bill was like, hey, there's this guy, Ray, read his script, help him with it. And even though the script was wrong, because it's a Christian comic and he had like, it was a cool script, but it was about a mercenary killing a bunch of people. And
Oh, no.
Like, hold on.
I took the character Flame Shot and I had him like massacre a warehouse of drug dealers. He drops a grenade onto them, and then I think he stabs like 4 or 5 people with a ninja sword, and then he burns one guy to death holding him up by the neck.
Yeah.
I went a little hard.
Batman just did the same thing, so I don't see a problem.
Yeah. So then I was like, hey, this is a Christian comic. Tone this down. Let's do some. So I think by the time this Calvary thing was sent to him, it was already in my mind. And I had mentioned it to Bill about like, hey, let's toss him this Calvary script. And if he nails it, let's have him do Last Gen. So it was like this pseudo audition of, hey, let's see if he can do this. And then he knocked it out of the park. So then it was like, okay, now that he's got this down, okay, he can do this. Let's toss. I think we tossed one more thing at you. I think that was the South Hawk thing.
Yeah.
And then it was after that
comes out one day.
Yeah. And then it was after that I was like, all right, let's give him this book. And then we did, and he's just kind of run with it. And there was a lot of guys in that wave of people trying to submit scripts that the scripts were okay, but they were called what I call it's a horrible name, but I call it skin script. Hey, what's up, kiddo? That's my daughter, the older one. But
I'll pull up the That way the chat will stream along the screen.
I see it. CYI World. That is that must be Bill. What's up, Bill?
Yeah, it's
because
Bill.
that's Apostle.
It's not showing up as him, but I recognize the art.
Yeah. So the what's it called? I've totally lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Rails a long time ago.
I know. Yeah, I was talking about something interesting. No, okay, so
Skin Scripts.
Okay, so Skin Scripts. Yes, I'm sorry. It's a horrible name, but this what I call a Skin Script is like, I want this really cool thing to happen, so I'm going to write this script, and whatever character you give me, I'm going to put in the script. Mm-hmm. But it's not about that character. It's about this script I wanted to do. So it could be a Batman script. It could be Daredevil. It's not necessarily like, hey, he jumps off the building, lands, beats a bunch of criminals up, and jumps back in the building and runs away. That could be any 15 characters. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you're submitting for a company, I want you to write a story that is specifically about a character. And Ray and two other guys, when I was like, hey, this is what you're doing, I need you to do something different, actually turned around, stepped up, and did what I asked. Most of the dudes wanted to argue with me, and I was like, nope, bye. So yeah, in that process of him actually wanting to learn and working and accepting a critique, and then again, like, it seems like it should not be rare, but it is of coming back with something better. And he just kept doing that over and over again. So I was like, yeah, let's give him a title. And that's kind of how him on Last Gen came about. And he's just knocked it out of the park. It's really has been fun to sit here and go, hey, here's this 2-sentence idea. Go make something up. And he'll come back with something spectacular.
I mean, isn't that just such the fun part of doing comics, just getting to run wild with stuff like that? And yeah, really, from the other side of it, I think when I applied to Grok, I had one credit under my belt that was an illustrated prose story for Big Bang Comics. I was teaching myself to write comics out of like just books kind of thing. I had very little experience doing it, and I applied to Grok, and I got the message from Matt. And then, gosh, I forget what my second script I sent in was, but I know eventually when we got to Calvary, like, I read everything there was about him, which wasn't much, but I didn't want to just write like a superhero story. I wanted to write a Calvary story. And again, back to just Matt and how every time you send me back, I come back with something else. The initial script for the Calvary comic, I think I had him run into 2 bank robberies on his walk home. And I remember you called me and you said, it's good, but why don't we just make them one? So he fights the robbers and then the supervillain, as opposed to he fights bank robbers and then he fights a supervillain at a jewelry heist or something. It makes more sense. And now looking back on that script, I can't believe I ever was going to try and fit 2 different robberies into 9 pages. Like, what was I thinking?
Everybody at some point in their life has tried to shove 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag. We are all guilty of that one.
Yeah, enough about my exes. So
we weren't even going to bring them up this show, and here you are.
Yeah, it's been interesting. But yeah, I think that was the thing, is like sometimes when you're working with another writer, it is sometimes difficult because some writers don't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. You know, they think, speaking of shit, they think it's gold. You know, whatever I've come up with is the coolest thing ever. And it's like, you know, in your mind it is, but you still have to put that on the page. Like, you know, one of my biggest notes that most writers can't stand is, that's a great story, but it's not in the script. Mm-hmm. Like, if you have to tell me all these details, well, then that doesn't work. Like, it has to be in your story. And I think that's been something I've seen Ray leaps and bounds over the last year or two in everything he does. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't know why you listen to me. Like, you've got tons of stuff out there. You know, he's got what is that thing that just came out with Bing Bang with the female warrior fighting?
It's Big Bang Adventures 35, and the story is called When Old Gods Rise. And basically I took Venus, who's sort of the you know, like the mythic godly superhero. She's pulled from the Roman myths. It's very like everybody, or like lots of people call her like the Wonder Woman. I kind of consider her the Thor. And I threw her up against Cthulhu and the other old gods. And I sort of turned them into like this ancient pantheon from beyond human memory that like return to try and bring about the end of the world. I was doing my best like Walt Simonson, you know?
There we go.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was so fun. Like some of the most fun I've had doing comics.
Dude, sometimes that's all it is. It's just a good story.
Yeah.
The deepest depravities of your imagination can make some of the best comics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So now having him do the last gen stuff and watching some of these stories unfold, like, you know, it's kind of funny because sometimes, and we both do it. I'll be like, hey, man, this is my idea, but I know it sucks. So help me make it not suck. And he'll say like, well, no, that just sucks. Don't do that. No, I'm just
Just say put a line through Matt's name and just put my name underneath it. We're golden.
No, but I think what sometimes happens is you do have that idea, but you know it's not there.
Absolutely.
And to go like, hey, this is my idea, but I know there's like the thing and you can't see it because you have so much in your mind about this whole story. So he and I are constantly like, here, read this, tell me what's wrong. And then back, you know, learned that Word has a comment section that you can comment per line, and he showed me that. So we do that constantly back and forth.
That's something I learned for school for one of my writing classes. Just it's beyond helpful. Of course, it's funny because I'm still on my family's Word account, so all of the comments Matt gets on his scripts are technically written by my dad.
Yeah, I was like, "Who is
Wait,
this?"
you just now figured out that Word has comment section?
This was a couple of years ago.
Dude, that's like my thing at work is I'm always proofing documents and adding stuff to documents, and the comments have become like my best friend over the 20 years of using it.
Because even though I know it's there, what I usually do, and Ray will probably like get PTSD from this, is I'll write my comments in red.
I also do
underneath
that.
the thing, like, hey, this should say this, or try this for the dialogue, or this makes no sense. So that you're just like, so it sticks out really bad. But
I like to do the strike through in red and then add the comment in red.
Or if you have to correct the spelling, which he usually does for me, just rewrite it correctly in bold red. But personally, like for myself, because as much as I've had fun working with other writers over the last couple of years, like usually it's just me doing it. So I'll print the script and then I'll go back with a blue pen and make all my comments and do that. And then take that to my next thing. So doing it digitally is definitely something new because I've never had to let me critique this and send it to somebody so they can make it better. But no, it's been fun to work with together and definitely kind of mold this last gen thing. I mean, I think technically we've got 6 or 7 things plotted out for this guy or for this team. And
we have so many. Well, we've been talking back and forth for a while now. I've been just sort of bouncing ideas off of you and off of Bill for what we should do for issue 2. What's
up, Nathan?
My dude right there. What's up, Nathan? He was a blast to have on. Just so y'all know, the Idleverse is going to be something amazing.
Jupiter Man, right?
Yeah, Jupiter Man.
Yeah, Nathan sent me a copy of issues 1 and 2 of Jupiter Man. I got a chance to read
Such a fun read. Dude, such a fun read, and I love what he's doing. And where that story is going to go is going to be amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's a terrific comic. I'm interested to see where it goes next.
Especially when it gets to that big battle scenes coming up. I think he said issue 8.
Wow. Well, someone sent me a link.
I'm looking forward to it. But let me ask you this. How did you approach writing heroes who inherit both power and expectation, and heroes who have already existed before you got to them?
That's
You're not going to get easy questions from me.
no, I'm definitely not going to. Honestly, I tried to. So the two main characters in Last Gen who sort of juggle both a legacy and sort of superpowers are appropriately, as I think Bill calls them, the Atomic Twins, Atoman and the Atomic Thunderbolt. And they're both the grandsons of, well, the original Atoman and the original Atomic Thunderbolt. But the way I tried to contrast the two of them is Atoman, whose name is Adam, his grandfather was a superhero and left him the
James
Atoman
knows what's up.
costume. Hey, James. You're too kind to me, James. Over Christmas break, I sent in my idea for the plot for issue 9 of Alpha Red, and James said he really liked it. I think it's going to be... issue 8 is terrific. I've been seeing the art behind the scenes. It's fantastic. Issue 9, though, we've got some crazy stuff cooking for that. But, sorry, as I was saying, so there's Atoman and the Atomic Thunderbolt. They're both juggling being superheroes and sort of carrying on the legacies of their grandfathers. But the big difference is Atoman's legacy is a lot more straightforward and, for lack of a better word, like unsullied than Hero, who is the Atomic Thunderbolt, and his name's, it's not Hero like superhero, it's Hiro. And in Hero's case, his grandfather was the Atomic Thunderbolt, but then his grandfather was arrested and put in an internment camp. And
during
the
World War
US
II.
government, sorry?
During World War II, for people who
Yeah,
know
sorry,
history.
during World War II, I should mention. Sorry,
He was
during
he's
World War
Japanese
II.
American during World War II. The grandfather gets stripped of his title, put in these internment camps. They make somebody else atomic. Sorry, not trying to steal.
No, he's absolutely right. They make,
But no, I knew what I of course knew what he was talking about. So.
right, and then Hero finds out that sort of his grandfather was the Atomic Thunderbolt, but his legacy has been erased. So now Hero's really trying to make a new legacy to make up for the old legacy that was taken, whereas Atoman's kind of towing the line a bit more, just trying to live up to his grandfather. Hero's trying to sort of make a mark as the new Atomic Thunderbolt. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, and one thing I've got, and this is in the script I've got that'll be in Last Gen issue 0, is Atoman is kind of showing Hero the ropes because he's been doing this a bit longer. He's showing Hero how to be a superhero.
Ooh, that's a good question from Nathan there.
Yeah. How did I get the opportunity to co-write for Grok? Honestly, sorry, I'm trying to remember. It was a couple of years ago.
There was a talent call for freelance writers for Grok, and Ray had submitted several scripts. That's how it happened.
Yeah, I was trying to remember whether or not I found it through Facebook or if I found it through.
It was on everything.
I had this bad habit when I was like 19. I would go to Indie Planet and I would just go through all of the comics they had there under the new releases, and I would just look up all the publishers and I would just sort of see which ones were open to submissions. And I call it the shotgun approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think for me, it's kind of funny because I think ultimately I did submit to the same thing, is that he had put out a talent call, I submitted, and then somehow I got actually like through happenstance ended up like really quickly getting on a personal phone call with him.
He rose to the ranks. He's just amazing.
Just like was like, oh, let me do this and I'll help you, and it was ultimately like, okay, well, if you really want to help, read all these people's scripts and tell me what's good and bad. Like, okay, 90% of them are bad. Do we have to take any of these people?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you met me.
Yeah. And then on Christmas Day, hey, man, did you read my script?
I got the notification. It was the weirdest thing. So I applied to Grok with the comic about Flame Shot where he goes pretty kill crazy, and Matt told me, hey, try again kind of thing. And then on
We just lost him.
Uh-oh. on Christmas Day, I don't know what well, because he's Canadian, so Boxing Day is a little like Christmas and
Yeah,
Boxing
it's
Day
the
are a
day
little
after,
different.
right?
Yes. So I'm sitting here like opening presents, and I get a message from him going like, "Hey, have you read my script?" And I was like, "Not today. I have not." And
Lloyd in the
hello,
house.
Lloyd. There he is. Bring it. Yeah, Phil, exactly. I can't believe this kid is sending me a message.
It doesn't say Merry Christmas or Hey, have a Merry Christmas.
It doesn't. It's just literally like, "Hey,
Happy
what's up?"
Boxing Day. Let me get something.
So I was like, dude, what is this kid's problem? And he's like, he's from
Let me see
Canada.
if
And
I
I was like,
can.
can you get him in and out?
Yeah, let me see.
But yeah, it was basically like,
There he goes.
what is this kid's problem? I cannot believe he's done this. He's like, well, he's from Canada. And I was like, oh, okay. A little bit. So I think I messaged him back like, hey, it's Christmas. Give me a couple days. But he also didn't know anything about me. So, he didn't know I still had kids at home and that, I'm not doing whatever. So it was very funny because it was just like, I can sometimes have a short temper about certain things. So that was one of those like, but then it was like once I found that, I was like, okay, let me talk to him. So then
He's a kid, man. He was excited about his work.
He was very excited. And that was the thing is like, I think a lot of people sometimes underestimate what enthusiasm will get you. Like if you're enthusiastic and you're willing to listen and work and try and get things done, like we'll do that. Like I've been studying and teaching martial arts on and off almost my entire life. And I would rather teach somebody and have them not pay me a dime if they really want to learn and work. Rather than you give me $200 a private lesson, but you suck or you don't want to do it. You're just trying to drop your kid off.
Go through the motions.
Yeah. So for me, it's definitely like, I need you to want to do it.
Ooh,
what's your background as far as comic? Honestly,
he was chiseling them into stone back in the Stone Age.
Yeah. No, I have on and off written comics. Just on my own, trying to break into the industry since I was a kid. But so it's kind of a weird, I'll try and summarize this. So all through my late teens and early 20s, tried to break into, you ain't wrong. All through my late teens and early 20s, I tried to break into comics or do something with somebody I knew, like other artists I knew in high school. There's artists I met in college. And as a writer, it's very difficult to break in. And then in my late 20s, digital film started becoming a thing. And I realized like I could be creative without an artist. So I learned how to do digital film. And for the next 10 years, that's what I did is I wrote scripts and made films because I didn't have to worry about an artist. I could do everything myself. And then it was my mid 40s when I think I tried to break back into comics. I've had enough money to pay an artist to draw the things I wanted, came up with a concept. And I think I had him do 2 issues. Then we tried to shop it around, but nobody would pick it up. Because I did not want to do the self-publishing thing. I wanted to get somebody to distribute it. And it just didn't work. And had I probably known more of what I know now then, I probably would have done it differently. But ultimately, I stepped away and was like, well, whatever. And then it wasn't until a couple years back when Grok was doing hey, we're looking for freelance writers. I applied, got hired on, did a bunch of scripts for him. And it was within 2 or 3 months that Nick at Apogee was like, hey, I want you to come work for me. And then I had this guy over here asking me and then somebody else asking me. And it was just this really weird kind of, a lot of things came together. So I've done a lot of that. So currently I do have a lot of scripts that I wrote for Grok that are still being produced. And Bill and I have talked about me probably going back and writing some more stuff. I've also written a bunch of stuff for Apogee. Currently, I am the editor-in-chief of Apogee. So I'm really trying to work on getting all of those things to meld together. And I'll be doing that.
That's a lot, dude, especially over at Apogee. I know Nick has a lot of things going on. And I know he's trying to tie everything back together again.
And he's got some good ideas, and it's just a matter of getting, like, it's kind of funny. It's like, what's it called? It's really cool to have a plan, but if you don't share the plan with all the writers. The plan goes.
You're good,
nowhere.
Ray.
Oh, good.
Welcome
I'm back.
back.
Sorry about that. My
So-
Wi-Fi, believe it or not, has cut out in multiple podcasts and shows I've been on. It is very frustrating, and I do not know how to fix it.
All right, tell your side of messaging me on Christmas. Go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Christmas, unwrap presents, hanging out, go to church, call the grandparents, all of that. I check my email and I see that the Grok Comics creator resources folder or something has been shared with me. And that makes me think I probably got the job, right? But it's Christmas. Why would it sort of get sent to me? So I was sort of going back and forth about whether or not I should reach out. And did I reach out on Christmas or was it Boxing Day?
It was Christmas.
Oh, damn it. I definitely just couldn't help myself, which again, I feel bad about.
That sounds like him. James, that sounds exactly like Ray.
That's exactly what I did.
Keep bugging them until you break them down, man.
I mean, it's
So
worked so far.
Yeah. And
Hey, and they
squeaky
kept you
wheel.
around, so you must have done something.
What? Squeaky wheel
Yeah.
gets the oil. Is that what it is? Is that the same?
That's what they say.
I don't know.
Yeah. And anyways, I reached out to Matt to sort of say, hey, so did I get the job if I have these resources? And I think we went back and forth a little bit. They weren't actually supposed to be sent to me quite yet, but I did have a gig. It was a little confusing, but it all worked out for the best, right?
Yeah. It was basically, I think,
dude.
yeah, I think the share
It
was
worked
like, because the problem is, and I've seen this a lot of times, is especially as a writer, is it's very easy for an artist to go, I like what that character looks like. Let me draw 3 pages of that character doing something. It's very difficult as a writer to do that because unless the company that is looking for writers gives you complete information about the character, you just have to blindly go, I like how he looks. Let me make up a story about him. So I think that's where it gets really hard to kind of submit stuff. So with him, when he had, with all the people that kept sending stuff in that was questionable, I think I talked to Bill about like, hey, I think we need to share more with these guys about what they're sending and what they're writing. At the same time, why a bunch of writers who went to a website called Tribulation Task Force sent overly violent scripts is beyond me.
Whoops.
Maybe they did that.
Yeah, it was the main character has a giant cross
To be
on his
fair,
chest.
to be fair, there's not a whole lot of comic book companies out there making Christian comic books. So
I didn't know that existed until actually
Yeah.
Matt sent me the email, and I'll fully admit, like this might make me seem a little dumb, but I did not realize Grok was a Christian company until Matt got back to me, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what I did wrong here. I'm gonna fix that.
And in your defense, that's what happens a lot. Is like I'm also the kind of person like when somebody says, "Hey, do you want to write for us?" or "Hey, we're looking for talent," I will stalk. I'll go back years on their Instagram. I'll go through their website. I'll look at everything because I do not want to be.
How do you
the
think I put
guy-
together these interviews?
Yeah, but it is like that's the thing is like sometimes I feel like if you want the job, you got to do the homework. And I think that
Mhm.
was where sometimes I get annoyed, especially if it was like there was one guy who wrote a script about Black Cobra, and unfortunately for him, I was in the middle of writing that first issue, and it was like, what do you like? He sent it, and then I'm reading it, and I go, why is he writing this guy this way? So then I go and read what was on the talent search, and it just says like Black Cobra is a superhero in the Remnant, and there is an entire setup of that world where the Remnant characters, the heroes, they're actually publicly looked at as terrorists
Mhm.
because the Watchers, the bad guys, work for the UN and PR, blah blah
Mhm.
blah, which
Mhm.
is cool. But he had Black Cobra like talking to the cops and hanging out with them, and I was like, hey. The heroes in this universe do not talk to the cops. Like the cops would probably try and take them down. I need you to rewrite it. And then why would I do that? I was like, I don't know. You want
Else
the
the guy
job?
is asking you to.
Yeah, this is one of those writers where it was like everything I kind of pushed back at him because he was the one who I think he did another rewrite and it wasn't any better. And I was like, I tell you what, let's do something different. Why don't you write a completely new script and do it on this guy? And I gave him all this information and he was like, well, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? And I was like, well, you're the one applying for a job. Why would you not? And he's like, well, I don't want to do this. You don't know what you're talking about. And I was like,
this is where the conversation ends. And
yeah,
have a good day.
Yeah, exactly. It was just one of those like, you're right, I don't. Bye. But it was. That's why, to kind of bring around why Ray, a guy named Michael, who I think you've had on your show, so different of like, hey, they took what I said and we're like, oh, that's what this is, and came back with a script that was really for this thing.
Oh yeah, Mike Williams.
Yeah,
dude, that dude is super smart when it comes to the administrative type side of the business. Like his episode, for anybody out there interested in comic books, go watch that episode with him, because the dude from the business side of the house is a freaking genius. Like that was a masterclass of the business side of comics.
Yeah. Nathan, I would recommend Atomic Thunderbolt, Black Cobra #1, Thief of the Night #1, and the upcoming Remnant #8. Ray and Last Gen 1 and 2 when they
Last Gen 1 and 2 or Last Gen 0 and 1. I gotta recommend those.
Last Gen 0 is going to be 92 pages.
Yes.
What was the goal behind creating such a large introductory issue?
Well,
that might be a boss man question, but maybe you know the answer to that one.
Matt,
you want me to answer?
You want to take a shot, or like I have an idea. You're welcome to as well.
So there's a lot of times, especially with number zeros, where because the nature of a lot of stuff at Grok is that it's a lot of short stories. So you have Parables of the Remnant, you have these issue #1s that are multiple stories. So the number 0 is kind of like a collection of all these things you might want to know before issue #1. So there's some of it's reprint, some of it is new stuff Ray has written, some of it may be stuff that has been introduced or is on the production side that hasn't been released yet, and it gets slammed into this number 0. And that's why it's kind of this spectacular of all the things.
Dude, that's some value for your money.
Exactly. It reprints the Atoman one-shot, the Atomic Thunderbolt one-shot, the Remnant #3, which was the first appearance of Atoman and Gemstar and Calvary, who go on to be the founding members of Last Gen. And then it has 2 little short Last Gen stories as well. And none of these are 100% like required reading for issue #1. I'm proud of the fact that issue #1 is sort of a good jumping on point. You don't need to have read anything to go into it. But if you've read issue 0, you'll appreciate the characters a bit more. You'll know where they're coming from a bit more, and you'll get the background of the world a bit better. The way I would compare it, and Matt, please correct me if I'm wrong here, is it's like if you watch A New Hope, not knowing the prequels exist, versus watching A New Hope after watching all the prequels. Like, you get more of the stuff.
No, we don't agree.
No? Okay.
We were forced to want to get out of order, okay? We were forced to, because that's how it come out.
No. He is correct. It's like there are certain things that are filled in, especially if you get into like the Clone Wars cartoon of, hey, wow, this is why these things happened the way they did. I'm just
and Ray, sorry. Just remember the rule of 2. There can never be no more, no less.
So as Sith writers, we're good.
And Matthew, be aware that your young apprentice may be coming for you someday.
I really
good.
Are we? Wait, do I have mine?
Powerful.
There you go.
Young chairman.
Write all the comics so I don't have to.
them being 7.
Oh, we do not boo Star Wars prequels around here. We celebrate Star Wars.
Well, anyway,
I have to
Yeah.
say,
We won't talk about those.
I was just going to say, getting to see episode 3 in theaters,
Catch it on the
what we did
re-release.
earlier this year was crazy. Because, well, 20th anniversary.
oh man, that's weird. But yeah, yeah, that's what number 0 is, and that's where it goes. All right,
Yeah.
What else you got, buddy? Throw it at us. Let's do this.
So, how do stories like The Origin of Atoman, Remnant Day 1, Atomic Thunderbolt establish the emotional and thematic foundation of Last Gen?
That's you, Ray. Go.
I mean, I personally did not write Atoman, but I've read it, so I can speak to sort of where it puts the character for Last Gen number 1. Last Gen, it's a big group of people. There's a lot of different characters in it, and they've all got their own arcs and their own personalities and their own journeys that they're going to go on. And Alpha Red, Atoman, Atomic Thunderbolt.
It's a
James,
mouthful.
you know, crossover.
Okay. Would it not be a really cool crossover, though? Alpha Red meets the Remnant. It would be so cool.
Dude, Silent Night and Alpha Red. I'm down for this story.
That would be awesome. Silent at Night and Alpha Red. That would be great. But we digress. I would have to say the way that I wrote Atoman and the Atomic Thunderbolt and the members of Last Gen was supposed to be like, this is a direct continuation from Atoman issue 1, Atomic Thunderbolt issue 0, and the stories they had previously appeared in. I wasn't trying to change the characters to sort of fit whatever vision I have. I was trying to write them as best as I could. And Atoman is the leader of Last Gen. He has that burden to carry. And in Atoman, his sort of one-shot, he is given the burden of carrying on his grandfather's legacy, but he still sort of maintains his very bro dude attitude about it. And I hope that carries through to issue 1, sort of
Did you say
showing
bro,
that.
dude?
Sorry?
Did you say bro, dude?
He's very bro dude.
Was it that energy drink from Letterkenny?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It could be.
Pitter patter, Ray.
But Bill has written Atoman in the past to be sort of like the frat boy superhero. And as someone who's currently in college, I know quite a few frat dudes or guys like sort of similar to that. So I definitely pulled on that for Atoman. And how you balance sort of that personality with being a superhero. Not that there's anything wrong with that personality, obviously.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And so what made the exclusive stories Moving Day and Roll Callin' essential to understanding who Last Gen is?
I mean, I'd have to say they're not 100% essential because you don't need to have read issue 0 to read issue 1. Reading issue 0 will give you a better understanding of issue 1, but Moving Day shows Last Gen moving into their headquarters, and headquarters should be in quotes because it is basically a shack near the city that they fix up into a headquarters. And they clean it out, they fix it up, and by the time we get to issue 1, they've set up a Bat computer that also doubles as a PS5, as well as a couple other superhero things. Sorry?
I need one of those. I need a PS5 that doubles as a Bat Cave or Bat Screen.
They're teenagers. What do you expect?
And for roll calling, I actually reread that script earlier today just to sort of remember exactly everything I put in. I wrote that over this summer once sort of Bill reached out to me and said, hey, so Last Gen, we're doing it. It's going to be coming out. Write a short comic that sort of introduces all the characters, lets us know what they're all about, and sort of sets them up to be this new amazing team. And I had a lot of fun with that one. I really pulled on sort of my love of classic comics. I have 2 of the characters going to get coffee and just sort of catching up. And then there's an explosion and there's a villain. The Horned Skull and his army of robots are robbing a bank. So they call the other members of the team, and then we get to see what these other members of the team are doing in their free time. And that's very indicative of who I think they are as people. And then they get the call, they suit up, and they head over there. And I just had a lot of fun with it because none of them are, well, one of the funniest parts is a couple of the characters are in a movie when they get the call, hey, there's supervillains, we got to go deal with it. And they get yelled at for being on their phone in the movie theater. And then when they finally like get into their superhero costumes, head out the door, and are on their way to the big fight, they realize it's all the way across the city and that none of them can fly. So they have to debate whether or not to take a taxi, the bus, or Uber.
Grab an Uber. Grab an Uber.
Well, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite jokes in the entire comic, and this spoils a little bit, but
It's still
like 4 or 5 characters. They pile out of the movie theater, and they're like, "All right, they're at that bank. It's halfway across town. How are we going to get there? Taxi?"
Nobody with super speed. No,
And
just
no.
4 dudes.
No.
Like,
They're just 4 dudes, and then one guy's like, "Do we taxi?" And the other guy's like, "I'd rather Uber, TBH." And I just thought it was the most like young.
Yes.
dude, no.
That's the epitome
Yeah.
of teenagers moving out of the house and realizing
Yeah.
none of them have transportation.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Nathan asked a good question here. So do both or do any of you have any aspirations to write your own original stories? And I think you have, Matt. Have you not?
Yes, I do. My big thing now is I got tricked into having more kids. So it's very difficult for me to do the whole I'm going to be away for a weekend trying to sell my books. So my tentative plan was to make my name at some different book company, like with Grok and with Apogee and maybe some others. And then this way I would have like a track record of, hey, this guy writes really cool stuff, so that when I did my own thing, it wouldn't just be random writer number 83 in the alley of Comic-Con on a table is just selling this random book that nobody knows anything about. But I have in the past written a lot of stuff of my own. There are plans to do some other things that might happen that I can't really talk about now, that are in the works. And you know, I it's kind of funny because Bill hates me in that, like, back in 2024, I was like, hey, at the end of 2024, I'm done with comics. I'm going to go make a movie. And I was really close to making a movie. And unfortunately, it fell apart. But fortunately for Grok and Apogee, that meant I was stuck in comics still. So, so I got brought back in. And so, yeah, there are things.
I'm very grateful.
There are things that I have written in the past that I'm thinking about revitalizing. Ray may or may have not read some of this already.
I have.
If I ever did my own comic, that would probably be the project. Sector is the comic that I did years ago. Honestly, if you go to www.facebook.com/ferocomics, FERO comics, both issues are up there. It's kind of weird. It became so dated so fast from 2017, 18 to 2022. The landscape of the world changed so much that I don't think the book works anymore. But yeah, I've thought about it here and there. It just depends on, again, like, it sounds weird, but it's like, I'm not Chuck Dixon. If Chuck Dixon goes on Kickstarter, he gets funded like that. If I go on Kickstarter, I might do $200 because nobody knows who I am.
Dude, this is easy. I got you. Just let me know.
Fair, but I'm just saying, like, I think that has been my kind of tentative plan, was to get into the industry, get a name for myself, then hopefully that name is a good name, so that when I go, hey, this new book called, Texas Ranger Superhero Cop comes out, people are like, oh, that's a guy from Phantom Hawk and Swords of the Remnant and this thing over here. Yeah,
Dude,
why would we not?
We'll put you in cosplay, cowboy stuff, and we'll sell the hell out of this book, dude. If that's what you want to do, assless chaps all day.
I mean, yes, but we want people to actually, buy the book. But I think that's the thing is that's for me personally where I'm kind of at. My family is first. I got married late in life. So the idea of like, hey, honey, have fun with the kids. I'll be gone for a week. That's not me anymore. I don't do, never has been in my marriage. It's just not me. I like writing. It's not that important. Not yet. You know what I mean? If Marvel was like, hey, we'll give you $1 million and you can write Captain America, but you have to come up here for a weekend, I'd be like, hey, baby, we're going to New York.
Yeah, no shit.
But if that's
there's so many cons around you, though. You have a lot of cons that come to you there where you're at. So within a drive, a day's drive.
And like going to San Antonio isn't that big of a deal. That's where my oldest kid lives.
Dallas is up the road too.
Yeah, that's
Dallas has so many cons and everything else right now. They're huge.
So I think with Apogee, we may be doing the Comicpalooza just because they come here as well. But all that to say, yes, I do have ideas of my own. It's just waiting to do them the way I personally want to do them to be the most creatively fulfilled by that situation without breaking into my personal life. Ray, what you got?
First off, can you guys hear me? I just stuck my headphones in.
You're good, dude.
Okay, awesome. My headphones are always on the fritz. Don't fall asleep with them in. That will definitely do some damage. I definitely have my aspirations to sort of write my own original stories, but I'm also in college and do not have much in the way of money. So I'm very much just working as a freelance writer, hoping to not only build up my resume, but also my reputation to hopefully at a certain point, maybe I could come to a publisher with an idea and they would take me seriously because they've seen my previous work. But I have entire notebooks just filled with ideas of crazy stories I'd love to do. I have one crazy comic idea I want to do. It would be like 12 issues. It would be set in New York in 1977, and it would sort of be like a period piece, coming of age story. I've been working on it since I was in high school, kind of thing. It's I've got lots of ideas. I'd love to do a very stripped down sort of superhero story, a lot like Unbreakable. I'd love to do some old school World War II comics, sort of in the style of Sergeant Rock. I love finding the old Joe Kubert Sergeant Rock issues in back issue bins, and they're so good. They're mostly just one and done stories. They're gritty, they're action packed, they've got heart, and there's just nothing like them out in comics these days. Like, if I could pitch any comic for Grok, I would pitch a Man of War comic where it's basically just him as Sergeant Rock. It's one issue, World War II flashback kind of thing. That would be amazing. And I would just beg Matt to help me with it.
You don't need me, buddy. You go on.
Dude, you sound like you got it down pat, man.
Yeah, but it's more fun if I get to do it, Matt.
We have this young guy here who's really, looking back into the older stuff from the 70s and the 80s, which is really dope to see. Especially as hard as they are to get your hands on some of those books, especially Sergeant Rock. The fact that you're finding any at all is like amazing.
Yeah, well, big credit goes to my dad for starters, because Vancouver has this one comic and toy show where people will just bring their own comic collections, or like shops from Vancouver Island or farther away from Vancouver will go and visit. And my dad would drive me to like this community center completely out of the way. And he would just sort of like hang around for a couple of hours while I went through every single comic book retailer. And I had a list. I was like, do you have any of the Nightman by Malibu? Do you have any of the Mighty Crusaders? Do you have any of 1963 by Alan Moore? Do you have any of Big Bang Comics? Do you have any Sergeant Rock? Do you have any of this? Do you have any of that? Do you have any Ninja? I had a whole list. I feel like I drove them crazy, but I did what I had to do.
It's pretty cool that you mentioned Malibu, because Malibu is where the first issue of Spawn went to before it immediately got,
Yeah. when Malibu was its own publisher,
Yep.
and then they got bought. Once they did their own comics, Marvel. Anyway,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
No, it's a mucky pass there, but it's kind of cool that he brought up Malibu. I'm just like, geez,
Well,
like
do
that's
you know,
a wild one.
or sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you know that series? No, sorry. I'm sorry.
go Ray, go talk.
You know that series by Malibu, The Protectors?
Oh yes.
So I was obsessed with it as a kid. It took me forever. I found issues like the first issue I ever found was issue 5, and that's the one where Nightmask gets killed, and there's a bullet hole that's through the entire issue. Not sure if you guys are familiar. They did like the character gets shot through the chest. They cut a hole through all of the comics. It was crazy, very funny.
I questioned that at the comic shop. I was like, why in the hell is there a hole in this book?
It's definitely a strange one. I definitely put a pencil through it and then spun it around a bunch because I thought that was funny.
Of course. You have to.
But all of those characters were redesigned versions of public domain characters. And that was sort of the first time I ever saw that you could do that. So I was really interested in, like, one of the first comics I ever drew at like 11 years old was a Man of War comic where he teams up with the Ferret. And it's just so surreal to me now that I actually have written Man of War for Grok, like this character that I only thought I was ever going to read about. It's really neat.
Let's see. What are your creative processes for writing? You go first this time, Nathan. I mean, Ray. Good night. Sorry, I've been sober for at least 3 days. It's freaking me out.
Well, of course, it always depends sort of like what the project is, what my process is for it. Like if it's a collaborative process, I'll want to call the person I'm working with, bounce ideas off of them. But if it's just me, what I usually do is, and this is like really OCD and anal of me, but I am a big fan of Robert Kirkman. And in the back matter of one of his comics, he talked about his writing process, and I definitely borrowed a lot from it. I usually try to like write out a summary of what's going to happen in the issue by hand. If I have time, I try to do it by hand first. Write out a summary by hand, and then I'll type it up into an actual summary. Then I usually send that to the publisher, and if they like it, then I go forward. And then I'll break down the entire issue page by page in my notebook. Like page 1, this happens, they say this. Page 2, this happens, they say this. Page 3, this happens, they say this. And then I'll do like a draft on my computer. And then I usually send it to Matt. He tells me what's wrong with it. Then I do another draft. And eventually it turns out pretty good.
So here's what's wild. If you go back and watch the episode with Michael Williams, he talks about the writing process and the creative writing process that he uses. It was very educational. Like, I know shit. Like, I went back and rewatched that episode and took a whole notebook full of notes. Like, it was that good. Like I said, that whole episode, I think we went almost 2 hours, and it's like a masterclass.
Oh yeah, yeah, he knows his stuff. So for me, a little bit like what Ray is saying, it depends on the project. But what I usually do, I've switched slowly to digital. I used to always do this by hand. I have legal notebooks everywhere. Is I would literally write down the name of every character. And then what I would do is the next page would be, what does each character feel about the other one? Like, what is Joe's relationship with Brad? What does Brad think of Joe? What does Brad think? And just have this web of like how everybody interacts and figure out like, what is Joe, a first kid, a third kid, a middle kid? Is he tall? Is he short? What's his ethnicity? And for me personally, what happens is once you create all those relationships, all you have to do is grab these people and go, okay, now that I know everything I need to know about them, put them on a plane going on a mission to fight a insert bad guy, whatever. And it just writes itself.
That's a really good segue, Matt. I like when you do this. So issue 1 puts the team into their first official mission against the villain Pest. Why was it important for their debut mission to feel personal rather than world-ending?
Because Bill said. No.
Dude, that's the best answer ever, dude. Perfect.
No,
Perfect.
that's not
Wrap it up. Let's
exactly
go home.
In seriousness, just sorry, I'm not gonna be able to top Matt's jokes, so I'm just gonna give
No,
what I think the answer is.
This is your show, your answer.
I have to say, I've had these characters rambling around in my head since probably 2023 at this point. Like, I've written out entire conversations between them that may never see like print kind of thing. Just I have like a whole notes app open on my phone where it's like funny dialogue for these characters to say to each other, like great little exchanges, future ideas for stories. Like I've been working on these characters for a long time now. And the first issue, I really wanted to hone in on those character dynamics and make them funny and entertaining and engaging, because there's so many comics where where a bunch of superheroes can punch a monster that's going to eat the city, or somebody comes down from outer space, your world is marked for destruction, or something terrible is going on. And for this one, we kind of just really, for lack of a, oh God, what's the word, Matt, where it's the reverse of like widened the scope. You're the film guy, not me.
Narrowed down.
Yes, thank you. We narrowed the scope a little bit just to focus on these characters at their HQ when they're suddenly attacked by the pest. And the pest is just such a villain. Oh, it's amazing. And the pest was a great villain because it's so weird and offbeat and impossible to predict that we really get to see these characters' personalities shine through because they're so on the back foot. Yeah.
It's a good segue, by the way, into what does this first mission reveal about the strengths and weaknesses of the team?
Man, I mean, Matt, it might be a while since you've read the script, so I can handle this one.
Dude, you should be answering all
your show. Yes, to support.
The big thing is, and Ray and I did discuss these characters a lot before he started writing, is like for me personally, again, it goes back to the skin script. Is this script a New Mutant script that we just changed all the names to?
No.
Or is this script a Power Pack script that we were like, well, just change this stuff? No. So it was like we know already, because he had written a previous story, that like there's these two characters that have a thing. So there's a way to explore that thing you can explore a relationship without it being about kissing and making out. And I think that's where that kind of thing happens in this story. Even in the battle, even in the prep, even in the aftermath, you can weave how these people interact and what they think about each other in the dialogue. And I think Ray did a really good job doing that here. And I think that's what really showcases, because look, as cool as the battle is between Last Gen and Pest, that may not happen for another 10 or 15 issues. So you have to sell the people on the characters. If they don't care about the characters, they're just here for the action. They may not want to come back for a second issue. Like, exactly. I don't know if they'll fight Pest. So I think that's what he did a really good job of in this issue.
Well, Matt, as always, is too kind to me, but really, I just want to sell people on the characters because I like them and I want everybody else to like them. And I hope I've done a good job of making them entertaining and engaging, and you're drawn into them because you want to know more about them. But, sorry, the question was, what shortcomings do they have, or like how do they learn how they need to grow?
What does this first mission reveal about the strengths and weaknesses of the team?
Oh, first I'm going to go with the joke. The one big weakness that gets revealed is Calvary needs wings or a parachute or something, because he almost falls to his death twice in the same story. Because of course his whole thing is if somebody with superpowers attacks him, his body just naturally summons a counter to that. So if you attack him with fire, he'll be able to create ice. If you attack him with ice, he'll be able to create fire. If you shoot lightning at him, a shield will appear. But if you drop him off a building, he just falls. So one of the plot lines I'm sort of brainstorming
That's
for
like
issue 2.
the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a part in the Calvary backup feature that is going to be in issue 1 where he's attacked by a bunch of guys with guns. So he has to just get by on his fists and sort of his fighting ability, because he can't sort of just summon lightning from his hands like the others. He's incredibly powerful because he can go to toe with any power set, but he also has vulnerabilities. And something I'm thinking about digging into for the next issue is, how does he prepare for fighting people who don't have powers? Or how does he prepare for the fact that he doesn't really have powers unless he's fighting?
Yeah.
And my solution to that is to give him a suit of power armor. I'm kidding. I just thought that would make Matt laugh.
Like, you've got us invested. So I'm like, if he gets a suit of power, like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Honestly, but really, I was gonna like have a whole bit where he he goes to one of the other unpowered characters, who's Anarchy Prime, who gets by on sort of gadgets and detective work, and they sort of work together to see if they can like build gadgets for him. Or maybe they'll go to Tech 9 because he's sort of the tech expert of Last Gen and the Remnant, but I don't know how open the Remnant is to sharing all their tech and stuff with Last Gen, because Last Gen struck out on their own. Something to be ironed out a little bit later, but
I heard if you slip Matt a 20 spot, he'll make that stuff happen for you.
Heck yeah.
It's gotta be a Benjamin and Wayne talking.
All right. Let's see what I can do.
All right. What is Nathan asking? How long does that process?
I think he's referring to your writing process.
For me, it's usually a solid day or two of sitting down and really kind of planning that out. And it also depends on the roster. It depends on the thing. But I will also get to a point where I'm like, yeah, I've done enough. Let's just go, because I'm really, really bad. And anybody who's worked with me would probably say is I will say, like, this is a synopsis of issue 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'll be like, this is the plot of issue 1. And of the 10 points, I probably hit 5. And because I've made 5 more, I really am not bad about the plan. But like if I say, hey, the story of this issue is that Silent and Knight get in a motorcycle and a car. They go after this thing on the highway. There's a big battle. They win at the end. That's my plot. Like I'm not gonna hone in on every page, blah 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 blah. Even like with Ray, some of the stuff I've tossed at him is like, hey, you know, this one character, his proteges got captured. He has to go fight this guy. At the end, this happens.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure these things are discussed. That's it. Like sometimes having that openness is where the creativity comes from. And sometimes you do the creativity. I mean, I've also done stuff where I'm like, I'll get 12 pages in and go, you know what? This is wrong. And deleted it, you know, and you have to be able to do that, because sometimes Absolutely. You're like, nope, this was wrong. And there was one thing we were working on where I think I rewrote issue 2 of The Secret Project for Apogee. You remember? And I go like, hey, yes. I'll read this. And then I would like the next day go, hey, don't worry about that. I deleted it all. I'm going to rewrite it. And he was like, what? But it was good. I'm like, no, it was wrong.
But it was so good. And God, was my note just add more Inglorious Bastards to it? Because I feel like I should have given you a better note.
But yeah, I think that's as a writer, you do. Like I sometimes get into the feel. What does it feel like? And sometimes it's like I will commend Bill. I wrote a Man of War story, and like 2 months later, I went back to him and said, I think this is wrong. I want to change it to this. And it actually put Man of War in a kind of a bad light. But it was a good arc for the character.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill was like, yeah, go ahead, write it and let me see. And even though ultimately the story was the same, it did give that character much more depth and much more much more of a tragedy to overcome instead of like my brother was a prick. So I think that's that's how I hope that answers the process question. I think I answered it too much.
No, no. Yeah. So, and then Alex wants to know which character was the most fun to write for y'all. Well, for you.
It's close because Calvary was the first character I ever wrote for Grok. So I've got he's got a special place in my heart because he's very much like a little clueless, a little aloof. He's just doing his best. He almost gets killed at least once just because he's distracted by a pretty girl. He's doing his best. But if I had to pick number one, it's Hang Ten. Hang Ten is my favorite character to write on Last Gen because he's a surfer superhero. And so I gave him the California like surfer dude personality, like very Jeff Spicoli, like, whoa, dude. And it's just so funny for me. I have such a fun time with it. And like, I don't do it to excess. I don't make it like a stereotype, and like it has bearing on the plot, but he's fun to write because he's such good comedic relief.
I like it, dude. So let's hit the art real quick of the book. How closely did you get to work with the artist on this book while you were developing this?
I worked pretty closely with Geraldo, who drew the main story for this, where I sent in the script and he would send layouts and we would sort of give him some feedback or some notes, and then he would do the pencils and we would let him know what we thought, and then he would do the inks. He was incredible to work with. I know he's one of Matt's favorite artists to work with. I can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah, Geraldo is... It's interesting for me because I think when I first started working with him, he was a little green. But he is probably not only one of the better artists that I've worked with over the last several years, but also one of the best collaborators. And I think sometimes that gets lost in these journeyman artists where they're just trying to like, hey, I got to get this project done, so I'll go to the next one. So I think, yeah, he's been a lot of fun to work with, and he does do some incredible pencils, and he's the one who did Black Cobra #2. So I think so. I can't wait for you guys to see that. He did some incredible work in that book.
No, I really, it's fine. I know we're here to promote this, but I'm just really so excited for people to actually be able to read Last Gen because I had so much fun writing it. Like I was rereading the scripts to prep for this last night, and I'm just chuckling at my own jokes, which is so corny, but like
I do it.
Dude, if you can't laugh at your own jokes, then nobody's going to laugh at you or laugh with you.
Like, do you care if I tell a couple of the jokes from the comic? Because I have so much fun with.
I don't want you to spoil anything, okay? If you don't want to spoil it, I wouldn't say it. But if you're willing to let them go, then let them go.
Okay. First off, I had to come up with the secret identity of Hang Ten, and I named him Bodhi. And if you know, you know.
Good.
Because I love that movie so much.
Wait, we're talking about Baywatch, right?
Yes.
Point Break. Okay.
All right. So it's nice being on the show. It's a nice being on the show. You guys have a great time.
Man. Reeves and Swayze all the way.
Hey, my first thought is Bodhi is the kid from Baywatch, and I immediately go to the red bikinis. Okay.
Oh,
kill me.
Gosh. Baywatch? Like, oh my god.
I do have a special place in my heart for Baywatch. That was the show I got weirdly into over the pandemic. I think I watched 3 seasons and like
puberty hits us all differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and of course, it's really funny because I don't have a ton of the context for the time. The immediate thing I thought of was I was like, oh hey, that's Frank Hardy from the Hardy Boys because Parker Stevenson's in the first season.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I was more like, why is the Tool Time chick on this show?
Also true.
Yeah.
Also true.
Yeah. But I just had a lot of fun with some of the comedic bits of this. Like when they're trying to figure out what the pest is, At one point, Calvary says, "We think he might be an alien or a zombie. Honestly, open to suggestions." And Hang Ten's response is, "What about an alien zombie or a zombie alien?" And just the group consensus is like, "Okay, go sit in the corner. You're done
Yeah,
talking
no
for
shit.
now.
Yeah.
Go watch Baywatch.
Go watch
It's a great
All right,
show.
Surfer Guy, go watch Baywatch."
It's a great show. Why not?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, where were we?
Baywatch.
Actually, I was on the beach. But let's jump into the Kickstarter real quick. I know there's only a few days left on the Kickstarter, I believe. So what can backers expect from the Kickstarter, and what are some of the perks that y'all are offering to backers on this Kickstarter?
That's what the link is for.
I mean, Bill could probably tell it better than either of us, but there's like the very basic digital tier of getting Last Gen #1, and then there's the digital deluxe where you get Last Gen #1 and Last Gen #0 and some other cool things. Then there's like a basic package where you just get issue #1 and some other little bit of swag. There's an intermediate one where you get 0 and 1 plus some extras, which is the one I recommend. And then we have like diamond level where you get Last Gen #1 and Last Gen #0 and some limited edition stuff. There's versions where you can get a t-shirt. There's a version, there's only one slot left in this, where you can get your own original character to appear on cover B of Last Gen. There's going to be a Last Gen t-shirt available and some trading cards and posters, and it's going to be amazing. I got to be honest, I do have my eyes on that t-shirt because it's definitely a bit of a...
Hang on. You mean to tell me they're making you write Last Gen and they haven't even sent you a free tee?
I mean, I don't think it's been made yet, so
That's Bill.
I mean, that's the least they can do is toss you a t-shirt, man.
All right, Bill. Come on now.
I mean, fingers
Bill's
crossed.
seriously slacking, man. At least a grunt tee, something. Let McMahon get a t-shirt, even though, I mean, he lives in Canada. I don't know when you're going to get to wear a t-shirt up there.
Look, see, Bill says
it'll get warm.
Hey, here we go. Bill's going to take care of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you, Bill.
welcome.
I love
got you a free t-shirt.
Thank you.
Matt said he'll cover the price of it. Don't worry.
I'll cover the shipping, which will be $80.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
my last Kickstarter I backed in Canada did absolutely, it was like 13 or 14 bucks. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. No, James is right. I do have 2 Alpha Red t-shirts, and I was going to wear I was going to wear them on this show, but then I was like, is that bad? Is that like promoting one thing when I should be promoting another? I don't know. And then I realized both of my Alpha Red t-shirts are in the laundry.
Bro, you ain't ever pulled a shirt out of the laundry, gave it a sniff, and then put it on?
Good point.
If it passes the sniff test.
Through the screen.
Look, you just
exactly. You're good.
You get it. You put it in the dryer for 5 or 10 minutes and put it fresh
with a dryer sheet.
Dryer sheet gets rid of the wrinkles, freshens it up, and there's no smell coming through, brother. You'd have been fine.
Yeah, cool.
At least you're not sitting in an office with a bunch of Wonder Woman stuff.
I mean, my background.
Hey, we're not here to judge you, Matt. Not this episode. We'll wait till you're soloing again, and then I'll spread more judgment on you. So, if anybody's wondering, me and Matt this is like our normal conversation style. Is we shoot jabs at each other and barbs at each other throughout.
Traditionally, I'm recording out of my office, but I'm using my wife's office, and that's why I'm sitting down because I usually don't sit while I'm talking, but it's because internet. But anyway,
no, James is right. We wouldn't have been able to smell it from here. Should have gone with it. I ended up just going with like my San Diego because that's like a classic comic thing, something I'm very proud of. But next time.
But without spoilers, what can readers expect from Last Gen as the series continues?
Wow. I'd have to say you can expect to continue to see these characters interact and grow and change because they're not going to be the same. Like fingers crossed we make it to something like issue 10, the Atoman in issue 10 would not be the same character as Atoman in issue 1. These characters are going to grow and they're going to change. Like your young adult years, as I've been told, are a time where you undergo a lot of changes and you learn who you really are. I'm kidding. I have experienced that. But as someone who just really recently experienced that and is still experiencing that, I hope I can bring that to the characters, that they're going to change, they're going to make mistakes, they're going to grow, and they're not going to be a perfect 100% of the time. And when you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, and in some cases the weight of holding on to a superhero's name who's already established, like, what does it mean when you screw up? Or what does it mean when you're shown up, or when you fail, or when you succeed and you don't get the credit you think you deserve? Like, the great thing is there's so many amazing situations and story arcs that we can put them through in comics. And because they're all new superheroes, they'll all be experiencing it for the first time. And that's why I liken this series to Invincible, because that show and the comic were huge to me. And you got to see all of these kind of ideas and concepts we'd seen in comics before, but filtered through Mark's unique perspective. And I hope I can do something similar. I know I'm not Robert Kirkman. I know I'm never going to be able to reach those heights. Or, well,
Bro.
fingers crossed.
You
Bro.
will easily.
You're 22
But-
years old. Trust me when I tell you this. You got years and years on you. And if you're at your level now, dude, you're going to go far.
Well, thank you. You're really too kind, and I really, really do hope for that. But
Man, I want that $20, man. We're kidding you.
I hope we can make people care about these characters and then take them on an adventure and see how these characters change. And I'll do my best not to kill anybody off, but no promises.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to.
And I think in issue like 4 or 5, there will be a new member that joins the team that could or could not
that's
be a
going to be
pre-existing
interesting.
character in Remnant already. So that'll be
That's
going to create some.
I'm glad you went there, Matt, because my next question was going to be, how does Last Gen fit into the larger future of the Remnant universe?
There are some things that are coming from in some of the future issues of the main title that will also have some repercussions across the way. I can't give away stuff because it's spoilery, but
yeah, no spoilers. Maybe
but there will be, as the Remnant story progresses and things start becoming worse and worse for them, it will actually behoove Last Gen to separate themselves more and more from the Remnant, which means they're going to be even more so on their own. It kind of almost like as out of a survival technique or a need to survive, to just kind of like, okay, well, no, we don't know who those guys are because you guys, so that'll also be changing the landscape of what they're going through. They're even more so on their own.
And also, you have to remember, a lot of these characters were members of the Remnant, and well, maybe they're Last Gen now, and they're only tangentially attached to the Remnant now. Not everybody's going to make that distinction. So maybe some enemies of the Remnant who want to wipe out the Remnant, destroy every last trace of it, are going to come for Last Gen. And you got to be ready for that. Like, your history, I mean, two of my favorite characters in Last Gen are rooted in the history that sort of goes into them being heroes, and history is going to play an important part in the next couple issues. And it's never going to be completely removed from the Remnant. What happens in the Remnant will trickle down to Last Gen. You'll notice it.
I like where this is going. I really do. And I can't wait to get my hands on and read these issues when they get to my house. And you'll be able to look forward to those, because I'll open them up on an episode of What's in the Box, man.
Awesome.
But before I let y'all get out of here, Matt and Ray, tell everybody where they can find you and Grok Comics.
You can find Grok Comics at tribulationtaskforce.com and across all social media, I believe, just Grok Comics. You can find me across all social media at the Jasso Man. Twitter,
Jasso with a K.
Threads. Also with a J. I need to put my full name on here. I only have my first name because this is what I use for my podcast, and it already has my last name up there. So yes, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, YouTube, the Hustle Man.
I've definitely got a bit of a smaller profile. I'm just Ray MacKay on Facebook, MacKay, and I'm available.
MOUSC. Sorry.
He did it. I was about to, and I was like, no, let him finish.
My bad.
And I'm just
Old habit.
That's really where I'm most available. And yeah, I'm just available to talk about all things comics. And Grok, you can find it at the website, as they say. If you punch me into YouTube, you can find a couple other podcasts I've been on where I stumble through trying to talk about my love of comics.
And if you go across some other publishers, you will see his stuff. He's done some incredible work for Alpha Red, for Big Bang. He's got some other projects coming that I'm really stoked for. So you're gonna see my man Ray everywhere here pretty soon. Dude, and I am just excited to be hopefully a little part and see where he goes.
I'm here for it, man.
He's being too humble. Matt's been a huge help with so many things I've worked on. One huge thing that I can't wait to talk about at some point, Matt has been a huge help with. And I'm very proud of all the other work I've done for other publishers like Big Bang. I'm really proud of what I've been able to help James with on Alpha Red, and as well as like Standard Comics, proud of the work I've done there. I'm just really jazzed that I get to do comics, I get to write comics and people pay me to do it.
Yeah. Anytime you say jazz, you have to do jazz hands. There you go.
There it is.
Now it's perfect. Like this.
Well,
there you go.
Dude, I love
comics.
It. And I hate to let y'all go, but we're at that point in the show. Yeah. I want to say that the future of indie comics and just comics in general, the future is bright with people like Ray out there, Nathan, 615 Comments, just to name a few. The future is looking very bright for the comic book industry. And so this is where we do this. Last Gen is a story about legacy, rebellion, and the pressure of becoming who you're meant to be, all wrapped up in classic superhero energy. Be sure to check out Last Gen 0 and number 1. Support the campaign at Kickstarter, grokcomics.com/lastgen. You'll find it is super easy. You won't miss it. And help shape the future of the Remnant Universe. This has been the chairman of the United States Department of Nerds, where indie comics come to life.
Thanks for having us
out there.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
It's a trap!